और हमारे साथ लेखक, कवि, परफॉर्मर प्रिया मालिक एक बार फिर से हैं। प्रिया, हमने हाउ ओल्ड वर यू के आपके बारे में जो वो सुना था, देखा भी था, हाइट को लेकर कैसे आपको टोका गया, क्या मैसेज आप यंग गर्ल्स को देना चाहेंगी, कैसे डील करें इस तरह के प्रेशर्स पर?
आई थिंक सीखने से ज़्यादा हमें अनलर्निंग करने की ज़रूरत है। एज women, एज men, एज members ऑफ द सोसाइटी, ये चीज़ें हम बचपन से इतना सुनते आए हैं, स्पेशली हमारी सोसाइटी में। चाहे आप हाइट को ले लीजिए, कलर ऑफ द स्किन को ले लीजिए, कौन लड़की कितनी पतली मोटी, कौन लड़का कितना लंबा पतला मस्कुलर है। आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं इन चीज़ों को अनलर्न करना, जो सीखी गई चीज़ें हैं, जो सीखे गए स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, जो मापदंड हमने बना रखे हैं, वो अनलर्न करना ज़रूरी है। सो आई थिंक अपने आप से एक एज एन इंडिविजुअल प्रोसेस शुरू हुआ है मेरे एंड से। एज आई ग्रू ओल्डर, और जैसे जैसे समझ में आने लगा कि कैसे ये स्टैंडर्ड्स मैंने खुद कभी नहीं बनाए हैं, ये समाज ने मुझे बनाकर दिए हैं, मेरे ऊपर पास परोसे गए हैं, थोपे गए हैं रादर, फॉर द लैक ऑफ अ बेटर वर्ड। सो आई थिंक वहीं से शुरुआत हुई, और जैसे जैसे थोड़ी अक्ल आने लगी, जैसे जैसे थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ने लगा, जैसे जैसे सोसाइटी के स्टैंडर्ड्स को मैं जानने लगी, पहचानने लगी, वैसे वैसे वो अनलर्निंग का प्रोसेस शुरू हुआ। तो इंडिविजुअल तरीके से शुरू होता है और फिर आगे बढ़ता जाता है, एंड दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट।
Priya Malik, we're trying to tell girls, young girls, that how they look today will have very little with what they eventually become, right? Very little to do with what they eventually become. As someone who started out being quote unquote too short, which of your attributes from that time has made you the successful woman that you are today?
Okay, so I was actually tested on a few beauty standards growing up. I grew up in a joint family, and I think in a joint family you do tend to get compared to your cousins a lot. And as bad as this will sound, my auntie reminded me a couple of weeks ago that when I was a little girl, me and my cousin, we would sit and not just test our height on the wall. You know how we used to make that little pencil mark on the walls? We would also do that to our skin color. So we would have our arms next to each other and decide who is more fair. And she said it as if she was remembering like a fun memory. And I was in the middle of dinner and I stopped and I was like, oh my God, we used to do that, my cousin and I. And she was like, yeah, I remember you girls doing that. And that's when the conversation began as to how did it all start. As children, we couldn't have just gone with ahead and be like, okay, let's do this. Obviously, it came from the parents and the society and everything else. So height was a major thing for me growing up because, I grew up in the era of beauty pageants. I grew up in the era of Sushmita Sen and Aishwarya Rai. And being a little girl who loved the stage, I wanted to be a part of the beauty pageants. And the beauty pageant industry itself has changed over the years, has evolved over the years. And I remember when I got my first period, one of my friends walked up to me, and I was 13 at the time. I was only 5 feet tall. And she was like, hey, Priya, I just want to let you know you will never make it to the stage now. And it was heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking. I remember I sat in the girls' toilet and I cried for hours. And, I think these are the conversations that we need to have. There are so many of these taboos in the society when it comes to height, the idea of getting validated via beauty pageants. And as a kid who grew up wanting to do all of that and wanting to be all of that, I have had a lot of unlearning to do. And the more unlearning I have done, I think the better I have become as a person, as a member of the society. But I still feel there is a long way to go. There are still days when I look at myself in the mirror and think that something is wrong or something is not quite right. And these are very internal monologues that, I have as a person. But it is so important for me to be honest about them with myself. And that's when the process will begin externally. So the change needs to start internally.
Priya, your poetry has a unique voice and an expression. We would like to give you the last word this evening to leave our young girls with a message delivered only as Priya Malik can.
Sure. So last year when we did this campaign, we decided to write something about the matrimonial market in our country. Looking for a bride, age 25 to 28, complexion extremely fair, Body type, slim. Height minimum, 5 feet 4 inches. My result, fail. इस खूबसूरती के बदसूरत टेस्ट का क्वेश्चन पेपर आखिर किसने बनाया है? मेरे रंग और मेरे रूप को अपने मापदंड पर आखिर किसने बिठाया है? So these were just some of the lines that I had written down for this brilliant initiative by Dove for Stop the Beauty Test campaign, because I think we need to start questioning who has made these rules and why am I trying to be answerable to a question paper that has been set by the society.